Hello, Fightful Faithful. Welcome to another episode of Tower Graps Tuesday edition. It's the fallout from No Mercy. I currently also am without mercy because Kate is without mercy. She is merciless in how she treats people. That's what
that is
what I will say.
Hold on. We're going to get to that, but before we do, we are going to tell you that this is the September 3rd NXT post show. We are creeping closer to that CW debuts. They are loading things up for that card creatively. Some choices that were made to get there, but get in your super chats, get in your humper chats. Please leave a thumbs up on this video, and as always, we're going to tell you all about the great things that are happening on FightfulSelect.com. Me and Alex doing pay-per-view post shows behind the paywall, so $5 gets you access to that, plus all of the biggest scoops in the world. That Warner deal is coming. There's contract news, but also, Alex.
Yeah.
You find out the character of people on FightfulSelect.com.
Yes, you do. You do find that out.
Let's roll the clips.
What? It's John Ross Sapp, and you have been served. You are being taken to Fightful Court for the crimes in which you have committed. You are being taken to Fightful Court.
What crimes have I committed, allegedly?
You, after doing a wonderful deed and selling a great sponsorship package, got onto my profile and assumed wrongfully that I had way too many graphics on my profile and you needed to free up space. Well, surprise, surprise, I don't have a bunch of silly bullshit on my profile. I have real man shit like this. And now, wait, I used to have real man shit like that on my profile, but I don't anymore because somebody deleted it.
Don't talk to anybody. I'm now acting as your attorney. However, you're in a lot of you're in some deep water here. Because here's the deal. The actual damages have already occurred. The night that Mr. Sapp was looking for the picture of a man with a very large head wearing a leather jacket in a wrestling ring.
Ever. Look, the chat is really bearing Alex on being a terrible lawyer, which I think
I'm just telling you the truth. I'm just telling you the truth.
Kate's innocent.
Sincerely, I appreciate the work that you do, Kate. You are fucked.
Wow.
You are so fucked.
I just wanted to let people know that on FightfulSelect.com, there's a lot happening, so you should probably subscribe. But here on this show, you're going to get my legal response, okay? That's all I'm going to say. I'm sorry, I had to jump Alex as my counsel. It was inadequate. I had to make some moves. But we're going to talk about that more later. I just wanted everyone to have a heads up about what I've been dealing with as a member of Fightful. So, in that vein, legal puns tonight. Courtroom puns, things along those lines. Okay?
I noticed conveniently that you edited all of my very good legal advice down to one clip where I'm rambling because I'm trying to gather my thoughts, making me look bad in the process.
The rest of it was you just being accusatory toward me, really. No, my God.
I was assessing the facts as they were presented to me in a legal affidavit by Mr. Ross Sapp.
Legal affidavit? I have yet to see documentation, but I lawyered up properly. So we've got a lot to talk about on NXT tonight. Get in your legal puns. Get in your super chats. Get in your humper chats. We had Chelsea Green on the show. We had Lyra Valkyria return for reasons. Giulia has arrived. We got a lot to talk about. And if you want to know what I was dealing with from my legal counsel before, he won't even do the PD challenge.
No, I won't, because you know why? That song's a lie. The whole damn thing. Your musical career, one Trickster Williams, is built on a throne of lies.
I don't even fully know what it is. I think they're just supposed to do dances with suspenders and a newsy cap on. Devastated. I don't have a newsy cap, but very excited to clear my name legally later in the show, and also to get into this episode, Alex, as we head toward the CW era.
Yeah. All right. Here's the thing that's actually the saddest about all of this is that they're really trying to make NXT seem like a good program heading into its debut on the CW, and I'm kind of in shock, and I don't know how to handle it. Like, some of the stuff is nonsensical, and some of the dialogue is still terrible, but they're like, here are all of these big matches. Like, here, take them. Take all the matches here. And they're like, oh, these two guys seem to have had a problem on the outside of this match earlier in the night. We're not gonna make you wait 3 weeks to see the finish of that. We're gonna have that match now. And I'm like, I'm not used to all of this. What?
It was.
Where is my normal terrible NXT review show where they take forever to get to stuff and I get to make fun of it?
Don't worry. I'm sure that will be back. I'm sure that will be back.
I hope it goes back to being the terrible old show that it used to be, so I could make fun of it. Because I honestly don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, if it's all good and stuff, that's gonna be terrible. But they do still have. It was nice to have today feel eventful, right? Like it was nice that things happened on today's episode, coming out of a pay-per-view and into the CW era. Like, this should have been a table setting episode, and it was. There was also some very dumb stuff, and I gotta say, I don't assume anybody in WWE watches this. I really don't.
Right.
But if a single person does,
right,
can they please inform the rest of the crew that women do not just stand around in a semicircle and talk like that?
I mean, but who's to say? You know, honestly, like,
I don't feel comfortable saying anything at all right now.
Oh, okay.
Because someone else is backstage, and I've been advised not to speak on any issues, but I do have to inform him of some developments based on. Hi, Sean.
How's it going, guys?
It's going well because I feel like I'm able to make some proper moves, and I don't want to say much anymore, but I have someone who can speak on my behalf.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Smart Mark Sterling, the most famous professional wrestling lawyer, and I am here to make a statement on behalf of my client in the light of the recent legal action taken against my client, Miss Kate Fabe. We've been left no choice but to countersue. I apologize, but we've got to do it, okay? Here are the points. Number 1, theft of joy. All right, limiting shows to just 2 hours. Come on. What are we doing here? All right. Number 2, breaking and entering, as Kate never opened the door and left Sean in. Okay. And number 3, tampering with the format of Kate and Alex's reviews. That will not be tolerated around here. All right, Mr. Sapp, you have 24 hours to respond.
Call 347-SMART-40 to speak to Sterling. Operators are standing by.
Hablos español.
You know, this is only the second time I've had the threat of a lawsuit this week. And something tells me it won't be the last.
I mean, I don't really want to say anything more about the situation, but Mark, who speaks Spanish as well, I think said everything that needed to be said. So I would wrestling lawyer up if I were you, Sap.
Well, a little bit of a reverse Uno here, Kate. You know there's no way he's going to be allowed to represent you, right? Like, there's zero chance. Like, you understand the conflict here. attorney under AEW contract trying a case involving a certain WWE bobblehead. There is no way that will actually make it to court. You messed up big time, Kate. You just showed all your cards. There's zero chance he'll even be allowed to say
I don't know.
that guy's name on the show.
Did you ever consider that maybe I have forbidden door power?
No!
Well, maybe
Absolutely not!
Maybe you should. This is an NXT review show, and he's already representing me. I've already paid him a pretty penny. If there's a conflict there, that's going to be an entirely different thing, but he's already agreed to take the case.
Pennies literally aren't worth what they're printed on now.
I think that he knows wrestling legal a little better than you.
And let me tell you,
quotes journalist Sean Ross Sapp.
If it's Smart Mark, he probably literally said, put a penny in my pocket, and all of a sudden, I'm your lawyer. He's one of those guys.
I have only had really positive interactions with him. If I don't get my money back, my trial is free. And, I don't want it to get to this point, but if I have to switch counsel, Luca Crucifino has very different methods. So I will pursue those if I need to, but...
What? Do you have any idea the lawyers that I know? I know Stephen P. New. He's a buddy of mine. Like, if I got to go there.
I mean...
I know Tommaso Ciampa. He represented Muhammad Hassan, and we know how great that ended up.
That did turn out very, very favorably. I've risked a lot for this.
He was on TV for multiple weeks after that. So it worked out great.
It definitely had an outcome for sure. So look, this is my move. This is my legal move. Smart Mark said you had 24 hours to respond. I think the smart thing to do is settle for, like half of Fightful Select and your cats and your cool sneakers.
By the way, listen, subscribe, guys. Best $5 in the business. Just today, Corey Brennan was out there smacking dingers, and not the kind that you'll be smacking when you use Blue Chew, but had a whole bunch of stuff on tonight's NXT, just a whole bunch. Last night, we told you Braun Strowman filling in for Bronson Reed, Sami Zayn starting a feud with Gunther. We had news today on top merch sellers, on Raw producers. Giselle Shaw granted her TNA release, and actually a story in which isn't so pleasant to talk about, the Odyssey Jones situation, which I will be talking about momentarily. But any further updates on that situation will obviously not be behind a paywall for obvious reasons. But have a lot of stuff over on FightfulSelect.com, best $5 in the business. Or you can subscribe, $54 a year. We might be adding a couple shows there. I know Corey's talked about doing a UK-based show and might have some stuff going on there. But we did get a lot of questions about Odyssey Jones. And I was sort of piecing things together. Instead of having you guys kind of prompt me for this, I'll just kind of vomit out the info. I did the same with Alex last night. Alex heard about a lot of the information that we had. So I think it was Sunday night. I had a source reach out and say, you should ask about what shifted with Odyssey Jones. And I said, that's interesting. And Alex had also noted this on the post-Raw show. They didn't mention him by name last week, and he wasn't on the show. Well, not only was he not at yesterday's Raw, he was not at last week's Raw either. And, there were some little playful tweets from Xavier, like, I didn't cause this. Talent didn't know. I just want to make this clear. Talent had no idea. They had no reason to believe anything. His own friends didn't really know up until today. I can tell you this. I have reached out to WWE as well as Odyssey, and heard back in a pretty minimal sense in regarding what I can say, but I have not been able to confirm with WWE that he's been released. That's what people believe. I have not been able to confirm that he's released. However, this is due to domestic violence allegations. I know it's from somebody he was in a relationship with. And again, as always, we need to say this. There will be further action taken and further research done on this situation. There have been people irresponsibly saying that he got arrested. Let me tell you, on Monday, I was checking all that, and I saw that an Omari Palmer was arrested. However, it wasn't him. I called the place he got arrested at. Different guy. Completely different guy. I would imagine Odyssey is going to try to see this through, and probably, if he is released, probably try to get his job back, probably try to fight what's going on here. But it is domestic violence allegation related. Worked Wrestling actually brought an account to my attention that had levied some allegations towards him. And in showing that to somebody in WWE, that was what was able to get me to get them to kind of, I wouldn't say confirm, but confirm that that's what it was related to, or at least a situation similar to that. He hasn't talked to many people, but that's the long and short of the situation right now. And it's very unfortunate. And it's one of those situations where you hope it didn't actually happen. Like you hope it's a horrible, misconstruing of things, but that's what it is related to. And you feel for anybody that may have gotten hurt in that situation, because that type of thing, inexcusable. Nothing makes that okay. But yeah, man, like that's where they are on that. And I'm very careful with how I use my words, because also from a legal perspective, we have to cover this in a responsible way. But that's what's going on. He is not factored into any creative plans. They have not confirmed to me that he has been released or anything of that nature.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, guys, except for Kate, I want to say thank you to all of you.
Wow.
Oh, hey, did we get the shapes for the cameras? Has that changed here yet?
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah, we got
I got that. Yeah, I got that notification from StreamYard. Like, wait, can I do like a circle? What's going on here?
Circle. I don't know. Where's the?
How do I do this?
You can.
Try
I just
and
don't
come
know
up with a
where it
good
is.
bit. Subscribe to FightfulSelect.com, because any further updates from my end will be behind the paywall. Okay.
See, they did this right after I started to do my interviews, like that. And I did that to make it easier for the guy that does our shorts to get a vertical shot.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. All right.
I just want to know how to change the shapes. What are y'all doing? Y'all got a time limit or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Pending.
Oh!
Yeah. Like, I'm also logged in. I do what I want, okay? I'm out here suing people, doing the PD challenge. Nobody's having fun with me today. Not a single one. Not a single one.
That's right. Well, we have a lot of things about the legal battle that you find yourself embroiled in. Jambeard says, I feel like Smart Mark should face SRS in the court of GCW in a courtroom street fight.
He's definitely going to be facing Smart Mark in some regard. I don't know if it'll be in a squared circle or in anything to do with GCW, but I think my stance is pretty clear at this point.
Yeah. JW Pringle says Sterling has passed the bar in all states, territories, and wrestling companies.
Yeah.
And Alpha Bill says that he will be subscribing to Kateful for legal fees.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, because Smart Mark costs a pretty penny.
Mr. Showtime says hashtag free Kate.
Thank you.
No, you're supposed to wait until several months after she's already been freed, like they do with Otis and his new t-shirt. Jambeard says, what kind of lawyer is Alex? Horse or mafia or other? Apparently not. Just not. a lawyer. Alpha Bill says, my client will not entertain these charges. Yeah.
Thank you, Alpha Bill. I appreciate your support. You can be co-counsel with Smart Mark. I appreciate that.
JW Pringle says, SRS tells lies. JW Pringle, Esquire, Southern Gentleman Lawyer, offers his services. I will happily co-chair with Alex in case Smart Mark reveals himself to be the ambulance chaser that we all know he actually is.
Well, hold on.
Perhaps that the team of JW Pringle, your own brother and your best friend, maybe together have your best interests at heart.
I can only go off of what you said to me that fated Monday night where Sean served me my papers, okay? Mm-hmm. And I was not satisfied with my representation that day. You said you are in deep water, and later you said I was in hot water. You don't even know what kind of water I'm in.
It's deep hot water. I'm sorry, water can be both things. The depth of the water does not negate the temperature of the water. Those two things can be mutually exclusive.
If it's boiling hot, that water is going to shrink because all the steam is
That's how
off.
deep the water is. The boilingness did not shrink how deep it is. Come on, people. Lupongi Vice says, overall, you both look fabulous today.
Oh, thank you. It's the PD Challenge suspenders that my co-host
is.
also won't participate in.
Jim Beard says, we need a star wipe for when Kate kicks someone off the stream.
Ooh, yes.
That would be fun.
That would be very fun.
Yeah. And Jam Beard says, F the Bengals. So,
yeah.
Hope Sean's watching wherever he is. Kate, as I said, going into this thing, it's weird when NXT is at least feels like things are happening. Now,
yes, in a somewhat logical order.
Some of the things are utter nonsense.
Yes.
And I believe all of the matches had some form of interference or post-match beatdown or stuff.
Shenanigans, because they shenaned once, so they shenaned again.
They shenaned over and over and over and over again. So yes, that is bad. And now no one is excusing that. However, at least they're like, this is a major angle. We're paying it off next week. It doesn't feel like it. Usually they draw things out for too long. Remember when Von Wagner first started hinting that he might have something to hide from Robert Stone, and that thing lasted from the last week of January until friggin' November? They usually take way too long to tell stories. They are motoring through some of these things, which is good to see. Maybe they want to have a clean slate for the old C-dub.
I would assume that's the case. There are still things lingering out there, like they built a lot into this Briggs and Jensen thing, and it feels like that is so...
Briggs isn't he still in Japan? He can't do anything until he's back from Japan.
But, you had a madman in Jensen running around. Like a madman.
Right, but now he's sensitive, and he's being lied to, gaslit by spears in a sling.
Like some things like that.
Yeah.
Could maybe, like that angle was so hot when he came back in. I felt like, and now it.
Oh, but they screwed that up so long ago.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
they ran that into the ground. So there are still things that need to kick into high gear, but I was encouraged by the fact that they did some things tonight that made sense, but they also did some things that made no sense. Mm-hmm. Like out of left field, what the heck stuff. So,
no, Luis is here. Luis is here, right?
Yes.
So we have access to Humper Chats.
Yes. Super Chats, Soupies and Humpies.
Soupies and Humpies are both available.
That's what we
we
do.
eat both Soupies and Humpies. The thing that came across earlier today that they mentioned many times during this particular thing is Jordan Grace has laid out an open challenge next week. And I was like, for the CW first show on the 1st of October. Like, no, next week. I'm like, oh wow! And then I realized that somehow it's Eek Week. Now it's WWE Week or whatever, but it looks like Eek Week because of the way that they've put the thing together with WWE. But so it's Eek Week next week, and because Raw is still on USA and NXT is still on USA for a very limited time, and they're just adding SmackDown to USA that Friday. It's Eek Week next week, and so they want to load up NXT with that. So Jordan Grace is going to do an open challenge, and I just hope it's somebody that makes sense and the match is good. That's all I hope about. So.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see if it's someone that has been kicking around or if it's someone debuting. Because Delta versus Jordan Grace. Yes, please.
No.
But it would be weird if somebody incoming, the first thing they did was challenge for the TNA title. So
yeah, and then what
awesome.
do you do? Do you do a similar finish to the Trick and Dunne one next week? Because I don't want Delta to come in and take a loss to Jordan Grace, who's not even on the show she's going to be on. You know what I mean? And I certainly don't want. I mean, that'd be weird if Delta comes in and beats Jordan Grace for the TNA Knockouts title.
Yes.
So yeah, it should be somebody who's a firm member of the roster who feels like they deserve to have the shot. But I don't know exactly who that is yet.
We're also assuming it's from NXT. That might be like a main roster drumming up excitement into the CW era.
That would be crap. Then do that. Then do your thing. Hey, you know what? It's WWE week. It's Eek Week. The entire week. If you're gonna do that, Jordan Grace, go to Raw and do an open challenge. If it's gonna be a Raw superstar, go to SmackDown. Do your open challenge there. If you're going to NXT and you're doing an open challenge, it better be somebody from the NXT roster, or I will be very mad online about it.
Oh my God, Alex is going to get upset on the internet if that's the case. I could see him doing it to spike ratings going into the big first show.
I know, I could see it doing that, but I will also be very mad about it.
Yes, I will also. I don't know if I'd be so mad, but I would be unhappy on the internet about it.
I would be furious if it's not somebody from the NXT roster.
Okay.
Furious. Yeah.
I mean, that is hot and deep water that they would be in that.
Yeah, the hottest and the deepest.
Very excited for Jordan Grace to defend. I love the interpromotional stuff. The creative hasn't been perfect, but the fact that it's happening is just so healthy for wrestling, and it makes me really happy. And Jordan Grace is an absolute megastar, so
she is.
We will see who. It's kind of also nice not knowing logically who's going to answer the open challenge, because so many times I feel like the hand is tipped with that, and I don't know. I don't know who they're going to choose. Could be Sol Ruka, it could be Roxanne again because of reasons. You know what I mean? They could do a lot, so we will see, but. That is an exciting development for sure.
Ryan Cicchini says, would you rather Delta face Jordan Grace in the open challenge, or have her do an OBA and destroy the breakout tourney? The second one. If those are my only two options, the second one 1,000,000% of the time. Because I don't want to do a Delta versus Jordan Grace thing where one of them has to lose, or you do a fake, double count out or a DQ or something. Delta should come in and start squashing people. I'm sorry. I don't know why we would do the Delta answer. Other than it would be a great match. Sure it would, but also it makes no sense. But then again, that is what I'd like to do. So.
Well, the question was, what do we want, not what will they do?
True.
So those don't always align. But I actually think Delta in the breakout tournament would be a great way to introduce her, because I don't necessarily think everybody follows the Australian independent wrestling scene extremely closely. Yeah. So I think for people to be able to get a sample of what a megastar she's going to be, that would be a great way to have her come in.
Yeah.
For sure.
Will Chisholm says, if she didn't lose to Roxanne, I would love Jada to face Jordan Grace. Hell, if she didn't just get her ass kicked after her match by the Fatal Influencers, then that would be a really good shout too. But Jada's a really great option, but 100% Jada, please. Not my ribs hurt Jada.
Sure.
You know?
I
Whoever
agree.
faces her should be 100%. You know, or whatever they are. Sol Ruka would be an amazing thing.
Yeah,
because the
I think that
match
would
would
be
be excellent. Sol Ruka can take a loss to Jordan Grace. They'll like shake hands afterwards. It'll be fun. Sol Ruka would probably be my pick, unless you want to force it to be like a heel to face Jordan Grace, in which case Fallon Henley, somebody like that. But like,
Sure.
you know, like Sol Ruka would be my pick.
She's not even really kicking around in a story right now, right? So I feel like Sol Ruka's
Sol Ruka, no, she's not, honestly.
Yeah, I think that would be a good choice. I think that would be a good choice.
Jam Beard says, I know who's going to answer Jordan's going to be one of the influencer ladies. And it probably will.
That's possible. And that's honestly, if it's like JC Jane or Fallon Henley, that's not the worst.
Yeah.
I feel like JC Jane has earned a moment like that.
Yes,
and,
sure.
And hasn't really gotten to show off.
Yeah.
So.
As somebody asking, is Nikita cleared? Is Cora Jade cleared? I don't know about either one of those things. A return might be interesting. A debut, preferably no.
Yeah, just because of the idea that they'd have to lose. Like, I think that's very, very fair. Cora, I think, is still a ways away. But Nikita, I have no idea, actually. That might be a good Corey question.
Trick came out to cut a promo. Thankfully, he did not subject us to his lie of a song that he cut.
Hold on. Go ahead. Ruin everything.
No. Well, no. Why don't you go ahead and do your disparagement Petey Dunne dance or whatever it is.
Look, I don't even know what the dance is, and I definitely don't think I could do it like in this tiny little frame. But I put on my suspenders just for this moment. Trick released a diss track, if you missed it, and there was a
terrible,
PD challenge going around. And sometimes you just gotta throw on the old suspenders and have some fun about it.
Well, not if the song is a lie. He says, you can't beat me, Petey. Petey already beat you. As clean as a whistling sheet in the middle of the ring. You can't sing a song, you can't beat me, Petey. She friggin' did. What a lie.
Diss tracks are supposed to be like the most accurate, intensive thing.
You know, see, Sean Spears, not the only NXT superstar to gaslit people this week. Because Trick Williams doing a lot of that on his social medias. I'm just saying. Like, you can't beat me again? Fine. You can't beat me.
That doesn't really flow, Alex.
Well, I don't know. Change the measure or whatever. Spit some fire bars. I don't know what the kids talk with their hippity hoppities, okay?
This is why I had to fire you as my counsel, because you can't handle a lie, and I'm going to probably need someone that can bend their truth, which is not your forte.
Listen.
Dude, PD challenge.
I mean, but I don't want to do the PD challenge. I like Pete Dunne. He's a very good wrestler.
He is. Nobody likes Trick better than me.
As evidenced by the fact that he has already beaten Trick Williams once.
It's not how diss tracks work, I don't think.
Will Chisholm says, rappers lying in their songs never, LOL. See? That guy's on my side. Rappers never lie. All of the things said by the Notorious Big, I'm sure, were always...
They were notoriously true. Like
the Notorious Big,
notoriously
yes.
accurate, yeah.
Yes, and listen.
Yo.
I think it would be some kind of slander to suggest that Mr. Mix-a-Lot did not, in fact, like big butts. He says in the refrain, "I cannot lie." So if I am going to be, I'm so sue me, Trick Williams, for judging you up against Sir Mix-a-Lot, who cannot lie.
I mean, really picking the pinnacle of the rap world with Sir Mix-a-Lot, so I don't even think that's a fair comparison, because I think most people revere him as the GOAT, but...
I don't even know what we're doing here, Kate.
We have the best review show of all. Thank you, Ben.
There you go.
My God.
Luis says, considering the heavy Jay-Z influence on the diss track, he was also lying a lot like Jay-Z did when he did a diss track on Nas back in the day. LOL, says Luis.
See? Know your rap.
So anyway, he decides he's going to say some stuff. And does Pete Dunne come out and like want to fight him in the first beginning? And I was like, oh, we're getting this now. And they're like, oh, no, they're scheduled to face off in our main event. And I was like, okay, cool. So they're going to brawl a lot during this thing. And eventually we'll get to the... Okay, cool. But they just decided they were going to do it in the middle of the show instead. But,
I kind of love Pete Dunne being like, oh, you're in the locker room? I'm going to mess you up in the locker room. Like,
There you go.
It doesn't have that, like, obsessive thing. It has that I'll just fight you wherever I want thing.
It's true. Dama Valley backing me up here. Not only can he not lie, Mix-a-Lot is knighted. Queen Elizabeth II placed a sword on that man's shoulders and says, "Rise, Sir Mix-a-Lot."
That a fantastic documentary on Netflix.
Yeah.
About that, yeah.
Hold on. What is the?
Oh, I thought you hated lying.
Is the video quiet? Am I quiet? So, there's new stuff here they have with. No, I should be fine. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here.
I don't either. You sound good to me.
Okay, good. Good. I just wanted to make sure.
We only live to pop ourselves and adjust our volume for ourselves.
True.
So.
True. Good. Fantastic. Good. Gallus is arguing with Hank and Tank before their match about stuff on their way to the ring. And Jada Parker walks in and she says, "See, now that's why I told my boys not to get involved with that."
I loved that. I loved
was
that
like,
so
if
much.
If she turns into the female Kevin Owens, finding holes in plot lines and filling them on her own, she will be my new favorite wrestler. Jada Parker, I was like, why didn't... I said this last week. Didn't OTM start John with Hank and Tank 2 weeks ago? Why aren't they involved in this thing? And Jada Parker takes it upon herself to say, I told my boys not to get involved in all that. That's great.
Be still
Everyone should have license to do that, to fill the little loopholes, man.
Be still my heart with that. And she's also a very natural talker. When you just say stuff to yourself kind of under your breath, that's just what this was. It was like,
yeah. Yep.
These people are acting foolish. I'm not gonna.
Yes.
This is why I told them not to get involved. Love all of that. Very effective one line.
Then she's walked up upon by the fatal influencers who try to clown her for losing versus Roxanne. And she's like, why? She says to Jasmine, why are you riding all their coattails for clout? And she's like, and then Fallon says, ooh, this kitten's got claws, rare. And I was like, what 2002 high school movie written by a 45-year-old white guy did you get that line from? But okay, whatever.
They need to work on how women interact and
They
stand
should,
and talk. I feel like some of these ones, I honestly, JC Jane has just embraced this so much that I feel like it's pretty intentional at this point because she came through this era where there were no options except for backstages like this. But this just isn't how people talk to each other. This isn't how women talk.
No.
It felt like if my sorority sisters were told that they had to write a sketch for some dumb pledge week thing or something. It was so just not how human beings talk. But she's really we've talked about it, that like the feud with her and Gigi didn't really push anybody forward, but she has been like one of their most consistent and reliable people that they've had there. They seem to have dropped like the rookies side of this entirely. Like now they're just more of a heel stable. So there's that.
Yep. Alpha Bill saying, "Who is this venomous seduction? What are we doing?" I don't know. What is that a reference to? I don't know what that is.
Venomous seduction? What's the name of this? Fatal
Influence?
Fatal influence might be that.
Perhaps.
That
Maybe.
seems almost more toxic attraction.
Venomous seduction. Yeah. Oh, that's it. There you go. See,
There it is.
toxic attraction. There we go. He's flipped it around. There we go. Thank you
I see
very
what
much,
you did.
Alpha Bill. Now I get it. I am slow today. But anyway, she agrees to face Jasmine Nix in a match later this evening, in what will wind up being the in-ring wrestling main event of the night.
Yes.
We had our NXT Tag Team Championship, which involved multiple unrelated people getting involved on the outside for no apparent reason.
God, it's already a multi-tag team match.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of felt like I could just jump in at some point.
Yeah.
I was like, Javon Evans, what is he doing here?
I know.
Hank and Take, They Will Never Make Me Hate You. Like, there was... I can say this here. I will never say it on Twitter. Like, if you are someone that thinks the Young Bucks stink for their choreographed execution, the amount of synchronized wrestling that we got from Hank and Take in the middle of this was a lot. I loved it. And I don't have a problem when the Young Bucks do those spots either, but I was like, oh no, Jim Cornette is going to have an aneurysm if he sees this. They're very, very fun. I really like them as a duo, but this was they were N for N on how many matches were going to have interference.
Yes.
Or, like, beat downy stuff. It felt like an AEW go home. Like,
A little bit.
like,
A little bit.
how crowded everything got.
Yeah. So, at one point, Joe Coffey gets up on the apron and starts yelling at somebody in the middle of the ring. And Javon Evans, like, in order for Javon Evans to be where he was when he was, he would have had to come out from the back while Joe Coffey was still standing on the floor before he ever got up on the apron. Joe Coffey got up on the apron, and less than a second later, he was pulled off the apron by Javon Evans, who wasn't out there for the match. He came out as a response to Joe Coffey getting involved, but it couldn't have been unless he was already, like, sitting in the stands munching on popcorn. He's a very fast young man, but he's not that fast.
Yeah.
And because of that particular thing happening, then Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson go the hell back to SmackDown, come out, and they end up ruining things for Hank and Tank, so that the Rascalz can capitalize and get a victory. So it's going to be the Rascalz. Remember when we asked, it's only a matter of time. Will Wesley stop them from getting the number one contendership, or will Wesley stop them from winning the tag titles? So they chose option B, and that's going to happen next week. Again, another match I just figured they were going to do on the CW premiere, but I think that's when they're going to do the Wesley versus Zachary Wentz rematch, maybe. Or maybe it'll be Wesley versus Trey Miguel. I don't know. But next week for sure, because Zach Wentz and Trey Miguel have a tag title shot next week. That's when Wesley will show up, and that is when he will cost them their tag titles.
That is correct. This match was fun before everybody's third cousin came to the family reunion. Like, this was way too much. It happened very quickly, to your point, but I'm not totally surprised. This kind of had, like, an effed finish. I will say, if you're not finishing the way you want to, if your finishes when you're effing, you get it. You get what I'm doing, right? I think you
Blue Chew, main event performance, main event confidence, and a main event deal. Go to bluechew.com and use the code FIGHTFUL, and you will get Blue Chew with their first shipment for free. Shipment? Yeah, I said shipment. No waiting in line at the pharmacy, no awkward doctor's visits. You take their online exam, and then if approved, it's shipped straight to your door. That's right. Same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and much more affordable. How can you pass up on this? How can you pass up on that confidence? How can you pass up on that performance? How can you pass up on making your sex life better? That's what Blue Chew is here to do. You don't have to have a problem to use Blue Chew. Just get that additional performance. BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL.
Now you dance?
I'm not dancing. I'm playing air bass. It's a big difference. I would never dance. Hence why I didn't do the PD challenge.
What,
if
you
the PD
live
challenge
in a
was
Footloose
playing the air
town?
bass, that's right.
3 separate dance performances by me on the No Mercy post show. And you know who enjoyed a single one of them? Not even the exciting Bet Online jingle, which is so much fun. This guy. But rocking and rolling on the air bass.
There you go. Good. All right. We are unhinged. We shall remain so forever.
Honestly, I don't know if we are unhinged, because that implies that we were hinged and we became unhinged. I don't know if we were ever hinged.
Yeah. I think there's a lack of a door. So there's no hinge.
Yeah.
There were never hinges here. It's just like a hallway.
Yeah. It was.
We should never call, we should not call ourselves unhinged. We should call ourselves a hallway. That is what we are. There's no hinges. So anyway. Okay. They interviewed Axiom and the Blurry Boys after the match. And
MJ Cyclo raising a very good point before we moved on, that our first episode was us dressed up as a funeral.
Yes,
We've always been the hallway.
Yep, it's true. It's true.
It's damn true.
So the Rascalz interrupted, and immediately, like right after
They're
their
not
match,
the
which I liked.
Rascalz anymore, Alex.
They're not?
No, because they all broke up.
Well,
Right?
what's the team of Miguel and Wentz called?
MSK?
No,
No,
MSK
that
is
was
when it's only
Wesley.
Wesley and them. So I thought.
But wasn't the Rascalz the 3 of them?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like when somebody, like, listen, when David Lee Roth left Van Halen and they brought in Sammy Hagar, they were still Van Halen. You know what I mean?
But were they?
They weren't. Honestly, they were not. They were not. So there's, I guess they were
still
called the Rascalz tonight. So.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Anyway,
I feel like they should rebrand.
Anyway, they said that they're coming after the titles, you know, and it's like, well, hey, you guys really good, but you're not going to beat us next week. And like, well, we're on the same page, but you guys aren't, because because like a month and a half ago you were both in the speed tournament, so how could you say you're on the same page? And Nathan Frazier's like, says the guy with the singles championship. I think just let 4 really fast guys wrestle until Wesley gets involved. We don't need to make this into a thing.
So this is nitpicky even for us. But like, what do they... I know they want a contendership match, so that for normal people would be enough.
Right.
But what am I if not abnormal? What do they want with the NXT Tag Championships?
They want to bring them to TNA. They said we want to bring them to TNA. Like,
okay, that's fair. It very much feels like there's unfinished business with Wesley. But I guess if Zach Wentz won,
right.
that's fair, because they should think it's settled even if it's not. Okay, I take it back. I rescind my nitpicks. I put
I mean, honestly, what it should be
Put them
is
back.
that they should win them, and then take them to TNA, and they should do, because is it still ABC the TNA tag champs? I think so. Chris Bay and whatever the Ace Austin.
I think so.
Yes,
Ace Austin
ABC?
and Chris
Yes.
Bay, yeah.
Yeah, they should do a two falls thing with 3 teams. The winner of the first fall gets the TNA titles, and the winner of the second fall gets the NXT titles. And the 3 teams are ABC, this new Rascalz, and Blurry Boys. Blurry Boys will then win the NXT titles back, and then you'll have the Rascalz beat ABC to become the new TNA titles. Like, do something fun. Do something fun with this crossover thing, as opposed to, hey, I'm here and I'm going to lose a match. AKA Rosemary. So,
AKA Joe Hendry. AKA
yeah,
most of the way this goes. Yeah. Easy as 1, 2, 3, I would say.
Jambeard says the new Rascalz in TNA was Wentz, Trey, and Myron Reed, a.k.a. Killer Kelly's Bow, and congratulations to both of them.
Yes, very happy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Lexis King defeated Oro Mensah in a match about whose father was more dead. I'm not. I don't. Is Oro Mensah's father dead, or did I forget what that story was he had with being, because I know there was a story about his father, and they were like Nigerian in Switzerland or something. I'm just not sure if anyway.
That was very Christian of you.
The finish happened
Christian the
because
wrestler, not.
Yes, not the religion. Lexis King started talking crap about Oro Mensah's dad, and he reacted in a way that made me think, is Oro Mensah's dad dead? Was that part of the story? I forget. So it is, yes, they should have burned your father. They should have burned your father to ashes, I believe is what he said. And I was like, yes, I would also be very angry about that. So then Oro Mensah starts getting really angry, and the referee's like, hold on now, you can't fight him that hard. And then it winds up with Lexis King doing a roll up with his feet on the ropes, and Lash Legend is standing there going, well, I have no defense for this. I just have to wait and watch my friend get pinned by this man who said they should have burned his father to ashes. Like, you're standing out there, move his feet off the ropes. What are we doing, Lash Legend? Come on.
I might be 180ing on Lexis King. He might be my favorite wrestler. What? I'm being silly. What on earth? Like, how do we go from a feud that's like, I don't know, I like the rock and roll music, not the beat boops. They should have burned your father? Who is Lexis King? Like, honest to God, as a character. What does somebody, when they're writing for Lexis King, like, oh, who is this? Like, that's not the same guy. That's not the same guy. There were 2 places tonight, one with Obafemi, that went to...
Kate, you pieces, you're right. Kate, it must be going for an insanity defense with statements like that. I'm sorry. Even though I'm kidding, I don't know if you were kidding. Anybody who can conjure up the words to form the sentence, Lexis King might... Oh, I can't even quote you. My mouth won't form those words. You've got to be that crazy, honestly.
I am sports entertained for all the wrong reasons. Like, what? This guy who literally was like, not the beat boop music is like,
not
we
the beat
should've
boop
burned
music.
your
Let's have a really
father.
brutal feud where I break your hand and then you move on to white knighting the ladies being hit on by Ashanti the Adonis. Like, listen, this is why NXT will never be good enough for us to stop clowning it, because what the hell has happened? Like, it feels like that was 2 weeks ago. That they were doing this feud about, like, beat boops and hair metal.
The music, man.
And now Lexis King is doing this weird thing where he's got to, like, say horrible things to Oro Mensah about his father in the middle of a match, while Eddie Thorpe is like, hey, Ashanti the Adonis, I think you should leave her alone. And that's his new thing that he's doing right now.
Yeah. Just gimmick infringement on Christian Cage, it feels like a little bit. But that was alarming. That was alarming.
Louise says, so we finally got BPJ feeling the effects of being roasted by Christian Cage 3 years later.
That's kind of it.
Yes. Yeah.
That's kind of it.
Okay, so the worst thing in the world happened.
I like at the beginning of the show, we were like, it was a better episode, like things moved along at least, and we're like, the worst thing in the world happened.
Mm-hmm. I regret to inform all of the Oba feminists out there that Oba himself is not a feminist. This was really heartbreaking. Not because I think this is how Oba Femi actually thinks. He loves his mother far too much for that.
Yes, we've seen that live.
However, what the hell are we doing? This is the same impulse that you had where you decided, we've got to make Gunther into this privileged, rich white boy, classist, like who talks about Damian Priest being street trash. We don't know how to make a guy an effective heel without him being a chicken shit. And we don't want to do that with Gunther or Oba Femi. So let's make him into a wholly objectionable human being? Just let guys like Gunther and Oba smack the shit out of people. If they smack the shit out of the people that we also like, we'll start to not like them. That's really simple, and they don't want to do that. So they have Oba come in there and start talking trash to the family, and then Big Ange says something to him about how, the Don's going to get a rematch. He's going to put you in your place, and he says... big words from such a small woman. Hello, her name is Big Ange, so she's not that small. And then he says, without even looking at her, in some cultures, women are supposed to be seen and not heard. And I was like, what are you doing to my glorious boy Oba? This is terrible. Don't do this.
I hate it. There's a couple of good things about this. One, I like that Tony D had something to... I'm assuming there was some sort of injury. It might not be a really bad one. He might have just rolled his ankle. But at No Mercy, doesn't feel like he can get in the ring right away again. And I like there being a little bit focus on... We haven't really seen a lot of focus on Big Ange, Adriana Rizzo. In this, since we had those Cole Rizzo vignettes, she's had a couple more matches, and I'm wondering if that means that they're ready to give her some more push, if they're ready to make her a bigger focus in this act, which is a very good thing. And I like that Tony D felt like we did. It was pissed off about that and didn't like what was said. And I understand that their way of doing things is, if a heel is getting too over, we have to make them
morally
hated.
Objectionable.
Yeah, and it's just, there's other ways to make us not like him, and I feel like everybody in the world has talked about how this guy's a generational talent if they want him to work heel. And I just feel like, find a better way of doing it. I'm encouraged that the feud with Tony D is being sustained, because that means he's not out.
Right.
But this is the first time in the entire time that we've seen him that it feels like they misstepped with him, and I hated this one. This was not a bad booking decision. This was not him doing something that feels like, oh, that was out of character. That felt like, no, what are you doing? Don't have him be this guy.
No, that was awful.
Yeah, that was brutal.
And the worst thing on top of this is from Akil. He didn't need to say this line. The writers really don't understand his culture at all.
Yeah.
Because in Nigerian culture, that is not how they view women.
No, not even close.
It's all basically a matriarchal society.
Yeah.
He would not say this. And I feel like he's probably, I don't want to rock the boat guy. I'm still young, sure. I'll say this line you told me to say. And so it's but man.
It sucks.
It really does. Like it's not something he needed to say. It's a completely extra thing. You know what I mean? Like she's he could have said something backhanded, like, you see, this one has fire, unlike the two of you. You know what I mean? Like allow him to like by demeaning Luca and Stax, and maybe Stax says, "No, boss, I'm gonna handle this." Maybe Stax gets himself into it, as opposed to Tony shows up and says, "In my culture, if somebody says something like that to a woman, they get slapped in the mouth." And he says, "Well, do something about it." Stax is going to, which makes Tony look weak, and then Stax looks at Tony like, "I am? Okay." So like that does, if Stax does not like being belittled by Oba, and he insists, "I'm going to handle this," and Tony says, "Okay, you can do it." And then there's a different response during the match that we're going to talk about later, because Tony feels like, I shouldn't have let Stax get in there by himself. You could have done way more. You could have had Oba like just power bombing him over and over again to send a message. And that is the kind of heel he should be.
Yes.
He should be brutal and vicious, but he should not be like casually misogynistic. That's just dumb.
I love this. 3 in a row. Alex, stop fixing booking, LOL. That's what we do. It's a compulsive tick from Alex.
I can't stop. But thank you for acknowledging that it would have been better. Because I do think it would have been better. When I was watching it, I was like, something feels off here. I don't feel like this is true to any of the characters. Why would Tony D be like, Stax is going to do it? Why would Tony D be like that? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me either.
No. And they are like obsessed with bringing people's culture into things. And to do so inaccurately with this felt really gross. Really gross.
So Gallus is pissed off because Javon Evans cost Mark Coffey and Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey and Wolfgang the number one contendership. And then Ren Sinclair decides to talk some crap. All right, Joe Coffey,
really
how about
like
this?
her.
You're going to have a match with Charlie Dempsey's going to shut you up. And Charlie's like, no, stop doing this. And,
I loved this.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
I love Ren. I love this, like, because I think she means well. You know what I mean? Like, I think right now, Ren Sinclair means well. And she's like, this whole group can do anything. And I like Charlie Dempsey being like, well, hold on.
Yeah.
Because this feels grounded in a way that nothing else on NXT feels grounded. But Ren Sinclair has such an exaggerated way about her that this whole combination of things I actually find very fun.
And so Charlie's like, you can't just go around just giving title matches with my Heritage Cup to everybody. You've got to weigh the option. You've got to talk to them, find out their sales pitch, think about it for a second, and then come to a wise decision.
Yes.
That's what he tells her to do, and she says, okay. And then later, we'll talk about that when we get to that thing. Tatum Paxley has a match versus Rosemary with Wendy Chu at ringside. These three should be a trio. It would make a lot more sense than the friggin' thing they are doing. Rosemary and Wendy Chu and Tatum Paxley should be a trio going from TNA to NXT and causing havoc wherever they go. They're really, really good together.
They really are.
I loved the idea of Tatum with Wendy Chu. I still don't know why Wendy Chu took out Tatum. That didn't make a lot of sense to me either. Like,
we still
Rosemary
don't know why
being,
Wendy Chu is behaving
why,
the way she is.
We don't know why Wendy Chu.
Yeah,
End of sentence.
Why?
We don't know why Wendy Chu. I don't know. I don't understand why they ever took that apart. Adding Rosemary to that duo would have been really interesting. Listen, here's something. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just spitballing here, but like, this type of trio deciding they're going to declare war on the Fatal Influencers, that's a trios feud.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
You know what I mean? The girls who were the mean girls, but all of a sudden they have these demons who've decided they don't like them. Like, in everything they try and do, the demons show up to try and spook them out of here. And, like, Jasmine Nix is really scared of them. Like, that would be really fun.
Especially JC Jane would know exactly how to, like, play with that, I feel like.
Yeah, that could be a lot of fun, but no, we got to do a different thing with the influencers, and we got to have Rosemary lose another match on NXT. I like Rosemary a lot. This was a fun match. Tatum Paxley's she's really, really good.
She really is.
Better. She's gotten a lot better. Here's the deal. I have really loved everything I've seen of her since she got out of that nonsensical storyline with Lyra Valkyria. So, of course, after she wins this match versus Rosemary, a former TNA Knockouts champion, she gets attacked by Wendy Chu and Rosemary, and who shows up out of the friggin' blue for no reason at all? Lyra Valkyria comes to save Tatum Paxley. And the last time we saw them in NXT together, they did not like each other one bit. Tatum, like, turned on Lyra after stalking her for weeks without ever telling Lyra or us why she was doing it. Then she told us after she attacked Lyra, and it was a really cool promo that showed off all of Tatum's acting chops, and they had a match against each other. I think they had a triple threat where it was her and Lyra versus Roxanne,
Yep.
and that feud kept going, and then all of a sudden, bye-bye Lyra, you're going to the main roster, and Tatum has killed it in everything she's done since then without the terrible storyline of her and Lyra hanging over her and, like, let's bring back Lyra and now they're friends again. And please tell me what the thinking is beyond that, and don't tell me to look at the terrible backstage thing that they wrote for them to do where they try to be like, well, I know we hated each other before, but I've decided to forgive you for no reason. Let's have a tag match. Meanwhile, they can't seem to figure out how to... Lyra was off TV for literal weeks on Raw. For maybe months. It feels like forever since we saw Lyra Valkyria on Raw. She finally shows up again last night and enters into a feud with her and Zelina Vega and probably Natty versus the PVC.
Yeah.
And then... Right when she starts something brand new on Raw, that's when they bring her back to NXT for no reason. Why is everybody doing everything all at once?
It's very weird that Lyra Valkyria can only be defined by friendships. She has no other traits. Like, she was Becky's friend, and then she was the TikTokers' friends, the TikTok tag team's friends. And now she has new main roster friends, and she has to come back for this friend who she's not really friends with. Like, give this woman a trait that isn't other girls. Like, it's rampant. It's been her entire, like, almost her entire 2024, it feels like.
Yeah.
It is a disservice to her, because she's got everything you want in the ring. I need to know, especially now that we're through the lost title match, I need to know, I think Wendy Chu is killing this angle. I think she's one of the best workers they've got. You throw Sleepy Gal at her, you throw 5,000-year-old Dragon Lady at her, she knocks everything out of the park. So this is now a reflection of her. She's one of the most talented women's wrestlers in the world. Why she's just acting this way now is something that I was losing patience for, and then I thought, well, after the title match, either way, we'll get something explaining why she's behaving this way, and we don't. The closest we got, which God bless Vic Joseph for trying here, was him saying that she and Rosemary are both demons from two different realms, which was a good piece of commentary, because it gave you context, but left enough to the imagination that you can, like, piece together what that kind of meant. But Tatum's come a very, very long way. A very, very long way. It's really good to see. Rosemary's great. Like she's the perfect person to be crossing over brands too. I feel like because she's just so reliable. But man, I'm glad Lyra Valkyria is on my screen. It's weird that she just wasn't. It is now on both of my screens, and that this is what she's coming back into. Like, I get the main roster crossover, but when you send people here that have been on the main roster for less than a year, it doesn't feel like main roster attraction coming back. She at least came into a story she was in instead of just showing up, but like in a very weird way. So this felt very... a lot of my complaints with NXT are always them trying to do more than they need to, and this was in that.
Jambeard says, what I was hoping for was Rosemary and Havoc versus Wendy and Tatum in a feud that eventually has the four of them join forces. That would have been cool, too.
Yeah, Havoc should be mixed up in this.
Jambeard says, I didn't know Lyra hated PVC piping so much.
Nor did I. That's a weird feud.
Lyra, last night, said, hey, Zelina, we're going to be in Calgary next week, right? I've got an idea. And it took her way too long to have the idea, because as soon as she said the word Calgary, I was like, Natty.
Natalia.
So they're going to be in Calgary next Monday. And then she's got to catch a flight from Calgary to Orlando next week.
Yeah, that's so weird.
That sucks. That's a terrible travel.
That's a tough travel itinerary right there.
That's a really terrible travel day. So Lyra has just started doing a thing now that Pete Dunne has been doing for a while. Remember, I know you're going to hate this, Kate, but everybody else in the chat loved it, so I'm going to bring it up again. Remember how I was talking about how Ridge Holland is like a character in a video game who started the quest line for Sean Spears, did 2 quests out of 8, and then said, I'm going to leave that until later, and I'm going to do all of the Chase U quest line. That's what he did, because he stopped his thing with Sean Spears cold, didn't reference it again, and did a whole thing with Chase U. Pete Dunne is a different kind of player playing a video game, where he just says, there's 2 quest lines. I'm going to do 1 mission from the first quest line, and then one from the next quest line. And I'm just going to alternate back and forth. Never do any of the characters from the quest line ever cross paths or even reference each other, but Pete Dunne is doing both of them at the same time. Pete Dunne has actively declared war on Sheamus on Mondays, and also, separately, through no related reason, declared war on Trick Williams on Tuesdays. And I feel like I don't understand why he's doing both things at once. It doesn't make a lot of... Wouldn't, like, your focus be pulled from one to the other in ways you wouldn't want? Wouldn't you want to focus on... There's a reason why they didn't send the same guy to both the Western and the Eastern Front during World War II. He would be spread too thin. You know what I mean? So that feels to me like I don't understand why he's got to decide he's going to hit Sheamus in the back and have a whole thing. Sheamus versus Pete Dunne next week. Sheamus versus... She has to fight Sheamus next week on Monday, and then fly from Calgary to Orlando to have a last man standing match with Trick Williams. That's death. Why are we doing that to poor Pete Dunne? He's gotta fight Sheamus in what's gonna be a brutal match, then catch a red eye from Calgary to Orlando, have 20 minutes to get a drink of water, and then have a war with Trick Williams on Tuesday. Poor Pete Dunne, what are we doing, man?
Okay, real life scheduling aside, I can buy into that Pete Dunne just wants to beat people up, because that's who Pete Dunne is. I think I've said this before. Like, not everyone's that way, but Pete Dunne's that way. And if they want to have him lose, that's a good way to protect him. Like, I just went to war with Sheamus yesterday, and he loses to Trick. That's not bad. I don't hate your video game analogy. I hate that I don't get the video game analogy, because the only video game I ever saw anybody play through was you playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and that's my only reference point.
You're right. I'm sorry. Sheamus said, it's war, I'm coming after you, Pete. So he's going to be in the Fatal 4-Way next week, where Sheamus is going to attack him with a shillelagh during the match. So he's going to get a shillelagh to the back a couple of times and then get on a red eye. So he's not going to have the match with Sheamus next week. He's going to be in a different one where Braun Strowman is involved, probably take the pinfall during it. And then he's going to fly to Orlando to have a last man standing match with Trick Williams.
A fatal 4-way also doesn't sound like I'm going to beat you down. That's too many... you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That doesn't work. It's not like I'm coming after you and also these other guys are there. Like, that's not how that should work.
Yeah.
But
in order to get to the last man standing match, Trick Williams and Pete Dunne couldn't hold back their anger anymore, because one time Trick Williams asked Pete Dunne for advice, and Pete Williams said, Pete Williams, wow.
Pete Williams?
Different guy.
Pete Williams
is an entirely different dude than Pete Dunne or Trick Williams. All three of them, separate wrestlers. Trick Dunne, also not at all the same person.
The PD challenge is just keeping your Pete's right.
Right. One time, Trick Williams asked Pete Dunne for advice, and Pete Dunne said, figure it out, and now they have to kill each other. That is a weird way to build to this level of animosity, but okay. They fought really hard, beat each other up a lot, and then it went to a double count out when they Russian leg swept each other off the barricade.
That was rad.
Onto the thing. And listen, I don't love double countouts. It makes sense here because you don't want Trick to beat Pete Dunne here to get to the third match. You have like Trick can't actually put Pete away. And so now we're actually going to see him do everything. He's going to bury him under rubble or a bunch of chairs or something and try and have to kill Pete Dunne. Again, while Pete Dunne is nursing a lot of injuries from being attacked by Sheamus during a fatal 4-way featuring Braun Strowman and Ilya Dragunov, for God's sake.
Yeah, that's going to be a bunch of fun to watch, and just like all the icy hot in the world for Pete Dunne, I hope.
Yeah.
This was the best Trick match I've seen in a very long time.
Oh, yeah, it was very, very good.
Very long time. And I think some of it was just up until the end, how clean it was. There weren't 8 other guys getting involved. It wasn't a 4-pack. There wasn't not a ton of like interference or anything. Like I think it was really productive for Trick Williams to just have a really good wrestling match, and one that was completely different than when you think of Trick's matches, right? You go back to like the stuff with Carmelo and things like that. Like I haven't really seen him face anybody like Pete Dunne. So getting to see him fight this style, I thought was really good. I thought that was really, really good to see. I'm with you. The double count out actually makes sense here. It was just on a show where every finish was an F finish. So it felt oversaturated, but this one was logical and felt like a good way to, even though I don't like them either, like to navigate the story that they're telling with these two. That made plenty of sense.
So Ridge Holland told us why he's such a meanie.
Big meanie.
And he's like, I brought them back to prominence, and I finally became a champion, and it was ripped away from me because of incompetence. And I was like, listen, I get the feeling. However, what? Why did you decide you were I thought that the best way to becoming a champion was to start paying tuition at a fake university? Like at one point he said I redesigned gave them a brand new look. Dude, you changed a red shirt with black lettering to a black shirt with red lettering. You did not exactly set the world on fire with your graphic design there, Ridgie. But like he's I had to destroy Andre Chase because he took my time. He sucks, which is true. He does. But
no, he doesn't.
He does. But he says, and Thea, oh, I'm gonna love watching you. And I was like, watching her what? Oh, okay. Watching you cry about it, I guess, is what he meant. But like,
yes.
It was this weird thing. I wanted him to say Thea. I'm sorry you had to get wrapped up in this. You remind me so much of my little daughter. I didn't want him to say it, but I thought he was going to. And then he, on his way out of the classroom that he, in canon, paid for,
Yes.
he drops Duke's MVP trophy that he won, I believe, in a debate with... Didn't he win it for being the MVP of the debate with the Schism? He won it. I believe he won the trophy for winning the debate with the Schism in March of 2023. And finally, they got rid of that dumb trophy because Ridge Holland stepped on it.
Alex, there are some weeks where NXT just is not very, very good. And I feel like we haven't really made progress from the 2.0 era. And then you say things like Duke Hudson won an MVP trophy in a debate with the Schism. And I'm like, okay, no, we've made some progress. We've made some progress. My goodness. I appreciate that they actually tied things together. But they went from winning the titles to losing them so fast that I was like, damn, dude, you don't even want to see if you can get a rematch? like it was just like, I mean, some people just want to watch the world burn, I guess. But I thought the video package itself was actually well done. And this is the second time, and you can't keep getting away with it, NXT. I won't allow it. Where it felt like with Roxanne's, they did the same thing, where they gave you, like, a pretty good retconned explanation of things. And a pretty good retconned explanation of things for Tatum. And they did that here. And I'm like, can you just tell that part of it along the way?
You could.
Like,
no,
just...
but they have to... It's got to be a swerve. It's got to be a thing where, like, you know, oh, we didn't see it coming, even though we totally saw it coming. We just didn't know why it was coming. But we knew it was coming. You know?
Yeah, well, and the... As long as I have these tag titles, I'll never leave the... Like, they go so heavy-handed with just that part of it. If they could lighten up on that and let us draw that conclusion with the storytelling along the way, I feel like that would be better. But I thought this was... It was as good of an explanation as they could have given us with what they've, like, shown us to this point, basically. I actually thought they did a pretty good job. And the production on these is so much better than the Backstages. Like, I said it on previous episodes, it feels like some of these video packages are, like, excellent, and then Backstage we get an after-school special. And I'm like, this does not feel like the same product, but all right.
Yeah. We're getting Ridge versus Duke. Duke tweeted from an undisclosed location that Andre Chase is still in the hospital, and he can't sit idly by as to watching his...
Tell him, Duke.
His trophy being stomped on for Mr. Chase, for Riley, for Thea. I got to do this. And, of course, he's going to get the absolute crap beat out of him by Ridge Holland. And they're doing the thing that I thought they were going to do Riley first.
Sure.
And then Duke.
But they're starting
and then Andre Chase. But it's weird if they do it with Riley, the one in the middle. But I
think because of the trophy, they want that to be like.
I guess that's why they want to do that thing. But like, I mean, honestly, you get Duke out of the way first. You put him in another hospital, and then there's nobody, no big guy to come to the rescue when Riley gets his. You know what I mean? It's smart. It's smart, honestly, from Ridge Holland. Something else smart would be if Ridge Holland and Pete Dunne met in the hallway of NXT and were like, "Hey, we're both evil now. Should we be a tag team again?" I mean, maybe. Listen, let me first destroy a man's livelihood with the whole. I'm going to burn this college to the ground. I'm going to put all of his friends in the hospital. And then after you become the NXT champion, after you beat Trick Williams and then Ethan Page, then we'll do like what do you call it? 2-man power trip. How does that sound? Oh, that sounds good. Of course, they'll do it all in a really unintelligible British dialects, but it'll be really fun.
That would be fun, but that was not Pete Dunne. That was Butch. That was a different guy. They should acknowledge the history of the fact that both of these guys are hanging around NXT.
They did in Pete's like little interview thing.
Yeah,
he was like, "Look what happened to Ridge. hanging around some dumb college or whatever. But now Ridge is on your side, Pete. He's angry too. Now they should be like, okay, well now we're friends again. Will Chisholm says NXT retcons are like how the Halloween movies did like 4 times. Yes, the Halloween movies have retconned themselves many.
Gosh, don't I know it? Because I watch horror movies.
So many.
And I'm not scared at all of horror movies.
The only Halloween movie you watch is Ernest Scared Stupid and Spooky Buddies. That's what you watch.
I'm a big girl.
Sean Spears has his arm in a sling. He says, Brooks, when you did what you did to avenge my horrible beating at the hands of Ederson Afei and Malik Blade, when you destroyed Idris's shoulder and beat Malik Blade, I wanted to say to you something that I don't think anyone has told you for a very long time. I wanted to say thank you. Or whatever. That's basically what he did, but he did it with a lot more emotion in his voice even than I conjured up. And then he just walks away and stands in the background as Dion Lennox, the Clark Kent guy with the glasses. He's actually sitting on a roadbox reading a very large book. And he's very smart. And then he walks up and he's like, psychological manipulation. And Brooks is like, what are those words? Psychological manipulation. He's gaslighting you. SMH. He doesn't say it, but he basically does. And then Brooks stares off after Dion Lennox as Sean Spears looks on from behind, 15 feet behind him, like watching him do it. It's very funny.
It is. I really like Sean Spears, and I want them to have like clarity around his role on screen, because I feel like he could be a very effective, like, stable leader, and that young talent can get a lot working under him or against him, or both, as many stables are prone to be. So I hope that this is headed toward something that feels more concrete, because he's like, it's been a couple times he's been scouting people and it never really came to fruition. Unrelated, people talking about my love of horror movies. Andy said, what's your favorite Michael Myers kill? I love the one where his face, like his skin is all like pale and he's got the thing.
Yep.
That one's so good. And how he like stabs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Horror movies, man.
They're the best, aren't they?
So good.
Jambeard says, never let us forget that the reason Dunne and Ridge first became a tag team was because of Pat versus Adam Cole. It's true. Pat McAfee made them into a tag team first of all, and then, yeah.
It is true.
Yeah. What happened? So, Javon Evans got a match versus Joe Coffey immediately, and then had the match, and it was over very quickly because the other Gallus boys tried to get involved, and Cedric Alexander came out to back up Javon Evans this time, and then Joe Coffey was very angry about this, but then walked into the ring and got hit with something, laid down, and took a spiral tap type of deal from Javon Evans and lost. So we are eventually getting the Cedric Alexander Javon Evans pairing as a tag team, which should be a lot of fun, but not right away, because Javon Evans has himself a Heritage Cup match next week.
Yeah,
he's just hanging out backstage talking to Ren Sinclair, and she's like,
so funny.
So, what do you think? What do you think your qualifications would be for a Heritage Cup? He's like, match, because he's like, that's cool. That's a cool cup. I hope maybe I'll get to win that one day. It's like, well, what do you think your qualifications are? Well, I mean, I did main event Heat Wave, and then you saw I just put away Joe Coffey pretty quick. But is this a job interview? It's like, maybe. How would you like a title match next week for the Heritage Cup? Really? I can? Yeah. Oh, I'm going to go tell Ava. And he runs away. And then Charlie Dempsey shows up, and he's like, what happened? I just told Javon Evans he could have a Heritage Cup match. He's like, you did? Why? Well, I did all the things you told me to. I basically interviewed him. I heard his sales pitch, and then I thought for a while, and I decided. That's what you told me to do. And then they do some jokes about how Miles Bourne is deaf, which I'm not entirely comfortable with, but apparently Miles Bourne is comfortable with them, so I just have to be.
It's kind of the only thing we see with him, so I would like for them to do other things in addition to it. Would be my preference, but they've been doing them a lot, and I would hope that he would, if he didn't like them, they would stop. Ren Sinclair's very, very good.
Yeah.
Like, she... this kind of... Most of the slapsticky stuff on NXT is not my bag. She's really good at this. She's really, really good at this. And I liked that this was like a through line through multiple segments that made sense of all I did was exactly what you told me to, and like she's still getting in this predicament, right? And that should also be a very fun match. Like that's something that's going to be very different than we've seen before as well. So that was all very productive tonight, and Ren Sinclair really blossoming in something that kind of shouldn't work, but she's making it work, and I dig it. I dig it a lot.
Yeah. Cyclo, talking about Chase U, says that JC brought Chase U back to prominence with her sexy co-ed's calendar, and then left 1 month later, saying that they had always been giant losers and she was never any of their friends, which is why she put together a co-ed calendar to save the university. Ridge brought them back to prominence, and he left 1 month later. Cyclo says, Chase U's a Shelby University. My very early Christmas wish is to see this university bulldozed to the bloody ground. I am with you, MD Cyclo. So, Annie Brown saying it was Oba not a feminist tonight. Damn, yes, it was. But listen, Stax took more of a beating than Big Ange could ever verbally. Physically, the beating was delivered to Stax, who got listen, I really enjoyed the time where he just tried to fight back, but you cannot hurt Obafemi.
Sure.
Like, there was that really cool time where he kicked him in the knee, drove him down, slapped away the hand, and started trying to do something, but you can't. He's eventually going to pick you up and shot put you into the air, and at that point, it's over. I also love that he needs to go back to this. The first time I ever saw him have a match, his finisher was a pop-up kneeling powerbomb. And, like, he does the pop-up powerbomb a lot, but I love the kneeling thing is so cool. So he did that to Stax. This was a beatdown. He beat the hell out of Stax. Stax took a great beating. But again, I don't understand why Tony's like, you do it, Stax. Oh no, that was a really bad idea. Now Stax is getting his ass handed to him. What am I gonna do now? That's terrible. My underboss is now my 6 feet underboss. That is terrible. But like, I mean, he was destroyed by Obafemi. And then you have Tony D sitting there going, he's speechless, doesn't know what to say. He's obviously angry, but also, what are you gonna do? It's Obafemi. So we're getting more Tony D and Obafemi, which is interesting to me. But this would be a lot better if Tony had a lot more than just Stax and Luca to throw at him.
Yeah.
Like, this is where it would be great if he had, like, 5 or 6 name guys that weren't just, paunchy middle-aged dudes with beards and fedoras who come around every now and then to have a couple of lines. He should have, like, a couple of those NIL boys who are former offensive linemen who could stand around and, get chucked in the air by Obafemi.
I would like it better if they were named too, but they do have an opportunity to have him start paying people, which could be very, very fun too. Yeah. This match was good for Stax for taking all of the punishment and selling his ass off. And the little offense he did turn out looked really good. Like, he came at him hard and then just got put down for a lot of this. I think this is a good example of longer-term storytelling as opposed to dragged-out storytelling, which is something that I've been trying to create more of a distinction of on several shows for several weeks now. Like, every week there should be some sort of development, Preferably, most of those happen in an in-ring capacity, and then some weeks with promos, some weeks both. This is a good example of that, and it's much easier to do with stables in general, but one where there's a hierarchy in that stable. It's a very, very clean thing considering how gimmicky this is. Like, from a wrestling standpoint, it sets up stories so easily. So they're executing that perfectly, other than the one line, which hopefully we just move on from. And it's never mentioned again.
Yeah, they shouldn't do that again. Here's some people are talking about this in the chat of Tony putting out a hit on Oba, like an open contract, a bounty. You take him out, you get the money, and you could have OTM come after him, fucking Gallus and Anderson, like Bouncy Beef. I mean, those guys are nice. They're good boys.
They are kind of nice.
You know what I mean? Hank
nice
and Tank
boys.
might do it just for the money, but if we take out Obafemi, we'll have enough money to fund our Instagram videos into the next millennium. Let's do it. Just like one of my favorite scenes in any movie is from Cape Fear, which you've never seen, I'm sure. Where
Why would you think that?
Robert De Niro was terrorizing Nick Nolte's family. He's a horrible guy. So Nick Nolte pays a bunch of dudes to like mug him and beat the crap out of him. And Robert De Niro just says, no, I'm just going to beat up all the guys you hired to beat me up. And, like, that would be so cool if, like, you put out a hit on Obafemi and he ended up fighting off, like, 6 dudes at once. And he knows that Tony D's the one who put the hit out on him, which just pisses off Oba even more. Like, there could be a lot of fun stuff.
And all you have to do is send him to the parking lot. Very little creative work.
Tony hires Jake something to take out Oba.
I didn't even think about the crossover with something like that. That would be very
crossover
fun.
could be really interesting.
That could get really
honestly.
fun.
Everybody says, I don't want it. Everybody's been saying like Moose or whatever. Like he's the type of guy who would take a payoff from Tony D to try and take out a dude. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying I want that, but, like, find a guy in TNA who would take a payoff from Tony D to come after Obafemi. That would be really interesting. PCO, although I don't know what Frankenstein needs money for. So, like, maybe it's not PCO, but it's like Oba versus PCO would be really good.
He's trying to court a girl, you know what
Maybe
I mean?
that's
He's
true.
been, like,
That
in
is
this
true.
thing with stuff to land her.
Yeah.
Do you want to call out some super chats?
I do.
There's just a couple of even non-pun ones in there that might be worth.
Jambeard says Tony D's men should be named Bugsy, Mugsy, Thugsy, Fugsy, and Pugsy. I like that a lot. Tony needs a big Italian guy. I got it. Someone call Marco Corleone. Yes, that is Jindrak's name in Mexican wrestling. Mark Jindrak's name in Mexican wrestling is Marco Corleone. That's good. I like that a lot. Jambeard says that they could have Wesley show up on TNA and challenge Wentz for his X Division title on their next TNA PLE. They sure could. All right. Let's do some of the original pleasantries we met. Eugene says, yesterday was my birthday. Happy birthday, Eugene.
Happy
a day
birthday,
late.
and YouTube member Eugene. Thank you for being a member.
Pringle says, awesome Alex, charismatic Kate, powerful Papa Paul Elizabeth, 2LT, 2 quit, Jam Man, meet Sourius, sisters Louise, and all the SGS. How's it going? It's all right, JW Pringle. How's it going with you?
It's a double bits night, so it's going very well.
Jambeard says, I volunteer to be paid off juror to help Kate.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We'll keep that in mind moving forward.
ENR says, the water is deep and wide, deep and wide. The water is deep and wide, deep and wide. There's some lukewarm water, deep and wide. I think that's about the deep water that you are and how warm it is. JW Pringle says, with no door, nothing is forbidden. That's us being a hallway and not unhinged.
Correct.
Meet Norma says, I just finished my fantasy football draft. The league is called Shenanigans. My team, Meat Sauce Mafia. My draft is ranked third, while
Okay.
others are cromulent.
That's very fair. Big fan of. I've said it many times now since the first time I heard it. If you can shenan once, you can shenan again. It's a Crestaism.
Andraves Gaming says, going through 1 week of sobriety. Thanks for helping. That's awesome. I have my very best friend in the world is a recovering alcoholic, and he's now 9 years sober. So like it is a struggle every day. I know he talks to me about it, so that's awesome. Good
My
for you.
favorite person on earth is in recovery and actually has her anniversary coming up. And one day at a time, never be too proud for help. You've got this. We're rooting for you. We're glad that you're in our chat. We love you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. That's
Everyone
awesome.
say nice things to him.
Yes, they have been.
It's
I've
awesome.
been watching. It's awesome.
It's awesome. We have a really supportive group every night, but especially on Tuesdays.
More Italians for Tony. Meet Normus was something I've been saying for a while. If he ends up out of AEW entirely, Nick Comoroto is the perfect guy just to be a bruiser in the Tony D family. He'd be so good at it.
He really would. He really would.
He's injured right now.
He is. He had a weird one too. Something with his leg.
Shoulder? Leg?
I think it was a leg thing.
That sucks. He's out for all 2024 and until 2025, I think. Yeah, there was this weird backstage segment where Ashanti the Adonis and Eddie Thorpe don't like each other because Ashanti wants to hit on ladies.
Yes.
But this was what we heard from Brindley Reese, that Edison O'Fay had to have shoulder surgery, and they wrote him off with the attack from Brooks. So that sucks for Edison O'Fay. And now we'll see what they do with Malik Blade, if anything, when he's here as a singles guy without the tag partner. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a bummer. That's a real bummer because they were doing some good work when they were allowed to. But nice to see from Brindley Reese again. There's these. It is what it is. Wrestling is a painful sport, but the overheard conversations thing is like one of the 4 playbooks they have backstage. We saw too much of it tonight, but this made sense and went well. It just sucks. Just sucks when people get injured.
It does. Jada versus Jasmine Nix. Jada she's doing a really good job selling the ribs. I just want to see full strength Jada again.
Yeah.
Like, don't make this into a Diamond Dallas Page thing where she's wearing the rib tape for 6 years. I need to see full strength Jada soon. It won't be all that soon because she got beat down after the match. She did beat Jasmine Nix with the butt to the ear, and then she got beat up afterwards by Fallon and JC Jane and Jasmine Nix, and they all did finishers to her, and they beat her up, and so this fully cements her as a babyface because she has no friends.
Yes, correct. She has no friends, so she's definitely on the face side.
Like literally all of the babyface women are standing around in a semicircle watching a video, and they're just there, and then they get walked up on by the fatal influencers, and like all of you were there are 22 of you standing there. Just walk toward the ring, and then the bad girls will have to run away. I don't know.
They looked like, in the Peanuts Christmas movie when they're decorating the tree and they're all just like circled around it.
Yes.
Like, nobody stands like this. What are we doing?
I don't know. But then when they come in, all the other girls like back up, and it's just Kelani Jordan and her best friend somehow, Lola Vice. When did they? Didn't they have like a whole rivalry that was never settled?
Right, but
Like,
they're faces now.
But they're both baby faces, so they're just
So therefore they are friends.
therefore they're friends. Okay.
Except
I
for
was
baby
kind of-
faces who aren't allowed to have any friends. Keep up.
Like they don't have any. Yeah, this is weird. Anyway, JC Jane and Fallon Henley apparently are going to be your next challengers for the Kalani Jordan's title, which makes sense. I was actually watching them beat the hell out of Jada Parker, going, "Why are you? What? Just it's fun. I guess it's fun to beat up Jada Parker, but like." Just go after Kalani Jordan. After the whole Wendy Chu's got other things doing, she's got no challengers. Go after Kalani Jordan, and then they did. So I was like, okay, well that's good. That's good, I guess. Fine.
Then you should have asked for $1 million.
Yes.
Yes. No, if they're going to be backstage bullies to everyone, that's much easier to stomach than going after people nonsensically.
Yeah. So Roxanne gets the main event slot to come out and talk about how nobody can touch her, nobody can produce her or what her equal. I don't know. But she just basically says there's nobody here. This would work a lot better if we didn't know Giulia was here, and if she didn't know Giulia was here and had not come face to face with Giulia 2 days ago. Like, this whole, there's nobody in the back who could even possibly beat me. Well, yes, there is. You know who it is. Like, it is very odd.
Yeah,
but then
you had a face-to-face with her already. Yeah.
Then it's a swerve, and it's Chelsea Green, who is great, but is a deliberate swerve to, like, throw people off the scent. But, again, we already know who it is, though.
Yeah.
You know? It's weird. So,
they should have just done this at the end of the pay-per-view. Like,
yeah, honestly.
I beat Jada, I beat everyone in my path, nobody's on my level,
Yeah.
out comes Giulia, and then that,
Right.
but they wanted to get Giulia on this TV, which I get.
So, then after, like, so basically says, I'm gonna come take your title. I'm gonna do it. And then the lights go out again, and then Giulia shows up, and she gets in the ring, and Chelsea Green off mic starts saying crap to her, and ends up getting elbowed in the face and kicked in the face. And then Giulia picks up her microphone and says, "You, me, CW." So then on the debut of NXT on the CW, we will be having Ethan Page versus Trick Williams and Roxanne versus Giulia. I anticipate both of those matches will have title changes, and we're off to the races on the CW. But that's not until October 1st, and we got apparently a whole bunch of crap to do in NXT between now and then, which I guess is good.
Great point from MD Cyclo saying she didn't tell us to put any respect on her name. She did not do that. Incredible presence. I try not to use the aura word because it's gotten so truncated, but Giulia just really bringing such a special feel to everything, and she's going to do incredible work. I'm so excited for what she's going to add to this women's division, and Chelsea's great. Like, my only thing with Chelsea was she's supposed to be a heel, and she said that wrestling fans need to work on their hygiene, which is babyface for me, like they do. So, she really, Giulia's gonna do really, really wonderful thing. That's definitely a title change. We'll see what we get out of Trick and Ethan. I'm not as sure for that one, but this I think is it. I don't think you bring in Giulia to challenge for the title and have her lose in her first outing.
No, I also Shadesters. So what's the point of Chelsea being there then? I wouldn't be shocked on not next week but the week after of seeing Giulia get her first match as a tune-up versus Chelsea with Roxanne at ringside on commentary, and just Roxanne at the end of it going, "Oh, I'm so friggin' screwed." like one of those things.
Yes.
Like, no, obviously not saying that, but like the look on her face as she watches Giulia destroy Chelsea Green could be really interesting, honestly.
I do think, as far as in-ring goes, this incoming crop is going to give you the throwback feel of what it was like with the Rhea Ripleys and the Four Horsewomen and all that. Like, I think this incoming crop is going to make it feel like you've got all these women that feel so different and are so great, and women's wrestling is so badass, I think is going to return. That's not a slight to any of the talent that are there. A lot of them are just up and coming. A lot of these women are up and came from around the world, so you're going to see a lot of different women's wrestling that you've seen so far. I'm sure the creative will still be something we get to whine about, but I think like Roxanne and Giulia is going to be an all-timer. Like, that's going to be a match we talk about, I think.
Yeah. Jambeard says, when's the CW show? How many weeks away? October 1st. So it is now September 3rd. So the 10th, the 17th, the 24th. 3 more episodes of NXT on USA, and then on the 1st. On the 1st will be... So we have 3 more weeks of USA and then CW. That is how it's going. Jay Miller says, if you look up aura in the dictionary, it's Giulia. So.
Okay. Well, I didn't want to use that word. But
Other people are fine with using it, Kate.
It's not inaccurate. I just feel like I was watching the MXM stream, and they essentially said, like, aura is not somebody holding up a title belt and fireworks going off, which is like how people view aura now. And it's so well articulated something that I had been feeling of, like, aura shouldn't be something that you can produce. Aura is something that Jon Moxley walks in with. Aura is, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I really, I agree that production isn't aura. Like, that's why the Yeet stuff doesn't translate with me. And so I like to say somebody's presence, because it's the thing of, as soon as that person walks into the room, regardless of any of the production support, that's what the game changer is on that.
Cyclo helping us. If you don't want to use aura, just use Skibbity Ohio Riz.
I don't know what this Skibbity Toilet, Skibbity Ohio stuff, I don't know what any of this is. I'm old and it makes no sense.
You are 24 years old. You are our youth correspondent. Jambier says, Alex, they should do Chelsea versus Giulia next week, and then the week after is Piper versus Giulia. I think she only gets 1 tune-up, but if, like, Piper comes to NXT to take revenge on Giulia for what she did to show up Chelsea, and the 1 tune-up is Piper, and she does what she would do to Chelsea to Piper, and that's what Roxanne reacts to?
Ooh.
Okay. Valab says, Ara gives Kate the big horror, and she's a big fan of horror.
Exactly. I love that movie with that guy who looked so weird and had those blunt objects that he kept using.
Yep. Valab says, can't wait for Giulia's biggest fans to see their first Giulia match. Because it does feel like a lot of people are very excited who have no knowledge. And I don't have that much. I've seen a couple of her matches. I've seen a lot of her highlights. She's really, really, really good.
Yeah, she's special.
But, like, a lot of people are like, oh, yes, of course. Well, she's going to change the game. Have I seen any of her stuff? No, I haven't, but I know.
Oh, yeah. And if she showed up in a different promotion, they'd be like, not a needle mover. Yeah.
Nope, doesn't move the needle. Will Chasm says, Jada going to be like Randy's dad, selling the ribs for 40 years. I hope not. I want to see Jada full strength, please.
As do
Tim McFowle says, Team Kalex for the next NXT Tag Champs. Why did WWE insist on having creepy sexual harassment stories? Ashanti, Dom, and Liv.
I wish I knew, but I don't like them.
I don't know. One Lieutenant Photo says, in the professional wrestling system, the people are represented by 2 separate yet equally important groups. The heels, who commit the crimes, and the faces, who prosecute the offenders. These are their angles. Dun dun.
Dun.
That's from Mrs. Lieutenant Photo.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Lieutenant Photo.
All right, let's do some puns. ENR says, Techno Testimony 2000.
Very nice. Thank you.
Louisville says, my cousin Vinny Pacifico.
Oh, we love Vinny here.
ENR says, Zach Subpoena Jr.
CSJ.
Sci-Town Spurs says, you want the truth? You can't handle our truth. No, actually, I can't. I can't handle him sometimes. My Pieces says, the mighty don't appeal.
That's TMDA is fantastic. I love that. Thank you.
Ian R says Bam Bam Barrister.
That's. I love that we get ours. You get your Bam Bam. I get my TMDKs and Techno Team 2000 ones.
Mr. Showtime says technically Team 2000.
That's important. In the code of
Technically,
law.
they were a team in the year 2000. That's right. Chris Pereira says Bam Bam Bigalaw.
The simple ones.
Ian R says Nation of Litigation. I love that one. That's really
That's
good too.
very good.
Chris Pereira says J Legal. And
That's
also
very good.
William Legal.
For sure.
Jambeard says Case You.
Well done.
Annie Brown says Bar Exam Bigelow. Ian R says Pro Bonoba Femi. Henry the Casey sends Friendship Bailiffs, not Friendship Bracelets,
Oh.
but Friendship Bailiffs.
Hopefully they don't suffer the same
Mr.
fate.
Showtime says Lawyer Britt Baker Lawyer Britt Baker ESQ.
Very nice.
Chris Pereira says allegation cease. Allegation cease.
I love when Allie gets them.
Brandon Rosen says John Subpoena. Insert clever Tegan Knox pun says Tegan no contest.
Very good.
Mr. Showtime says Jim the Gavel Night Court. Meet Norma says Penta El Cerro Mediation. They don't
Very
just
good.
set the bar, they are the bar exam. Mr.
Very good.
Showtime says Bail Kim.
Bail Kim is really good.
Lieutenant Colonel Photo says my cousin Vinny Marsiglia Righteous.
Very nice.
Chris Pereira says Plaint Tiffany Stratton.
Plaintiff.
Mr. Showtime says the
Plain
trial
Tiffany.
chief.
The trial chief. Wow. That's excellent.
Jesse Ozog says Mensah Ripley. Or maybe
Mensah
Mensah
Ripley.
Phoenix. Louisville says House of Torts. Sure. JW Pringle says Kevin Dunne.
That's very good. You could also do Pete Dunne.
You could do Pete Dunne. Let's do Pete Dunne instead of, I don't want to do Pete Kevin.
I mean, Pete Dunne being done is, or
Yeah,
Kevin Dunne being done is.
Meet Normus says Smart Mark chases ambulances all the way to local medical facilities. Nation of Deposition, Dark Order in the Court, and of course, Sid Justice. R.I.P.
Sid.
Mr. Showtime says Oba in the court. Oba in the court.
That's really good.
This court will now come to Oba. George Just Ricardo says Corey Nair, a turnbuckle at law. Corey Nair? Corey Nair. I don't know what that is.
I don't know either.
Chris Pereira says PLE deal, like a plea deal.
That's very
Ian R
good.
says New World Order in the court. And Eli
good.
says Tag Team Turmoil, FT Bar, Courthouse of Black, and Law and Dark Order.
Very good.
Oh, Corner, a turnbuckle at law. Corner, a turnbuckle at law. Corner.
Oh, okay.
That's good. Just Ricardo says The Burning Gavel.
Very nice.
Chris Pereira says Ron Summons. Ian R says Objection Spears.
Very nice.
Tom Lavalle says Judge Mills Lenny Lane.
Very good.
Chris Pereira says Supreme Court Justice. Ian R says Speedball Mike Bailiff.
Very good.
Jesse Ozog says Promissory Estoppel Phantasmo. it's Electric Mayhem says El Depositiono, Testimony, and Fiduciary Valor.
Very good. Very good.
Just Ricardo says 1, 2, 3 strike kid nation of intense probation. And 1, 2, 3 strike kid and nation of intense probation. Thank you. Jambeard says Bam Bam Bailiff and prosecutor Peter Avalon. And Jambeard also says Johnny Wrestling Cochran. Johnny Wrestling Cochran.
Very nice.
And then Chris Pereira, this is my favorite one. Oh, wait. Eli says, for all the gamer fans, Ace Austin Attorney. Okay. My favorite one from Chris Pereira. When your whole thing with Smart Mark and Sean doesn't go well, if it doesn't go well, I just hope the judge declares a mistrial.
That's very good. That might be the most you've ever liked The Miz, to be honest.
Meat Norma says, Kate, the Impossible Meat was okay. I'm influenced.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. The Impossible Meat and Beyond Meats, as time goes on, they get better. But I'm glad that you enjoyed them, and thank you for thinking of me.
Tom LaValle says, bringing back the Regal rap, Juicy by Notorious B.I.G. Notorious Big.
Oh, the Regal rap is where it all started.
It is. Let's see if I can get through this without having our show canceled. Yes, this album is dedicated to all the people that told me I never mounted nothing. To all the people that lived above the buildings that I was hustling in front of. Called the police on me when I was just trying to make some money to feed my daughter. It's all good. And all the fellas in the struggle, you know what I'm saying? It's all good, baby boy. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine, hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday rap attack, Mr. Magic, Marley Marl. I let my tape rock till my tape popped. Smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on private stock. Way back when I had the red and black lumberjack with a hat to match. Remember rapping Doo-ha, Sunshine. I'm done with this now.
William Regal, famous for reading Word Up magazine.
Yep. Nope, not doing that. Okay. All right. Let's see. Hey, Dusty, are you here? It's me, baby. Hold on, it's me. Electric Mayhem says, jukebox for Dusty Ghosty Roads to sing Skibbity by Little Big. Listen, I'm not only am I old, I am also dead, so I have no idea what the Skibbity is. So, I'm calling on you to say, I want you, maybe all night, all day. I want you, different towns to run to. Ooh, baby, come to me, ha, 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 give it all to me. Skibbity, ooh, papa. Skibbity, ooh, papa, papa. Skibbity, ooh, papa, 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 papa. Skibbity, papa, daddy. Skibbity, boom, boom, eh. Skibbity, boom, 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 eh. Skibbity, boom, 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 papa, boom, boom, skibbity, papa. A. Skibbity papa.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Me Norma said, can the ghost of Dusty Road sing I Fought the Law? Let's see. I fought the law. Breaking rocks in the hot sun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. I needed money cause I had none, baby. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. I left my baby and it feels so bad. I guess my race is run. She's the best girl that I ever had, baby. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. Robbing people with a 6-gun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. I lost my girl and I lost my fun. And I didn't lose my smile. That was HBK.
Yeah, that was a
I fought the
different guy.
law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. Take it, Ricky. I left my baby and it feels so bad. I guess my race is run. She's the best girl that I ever had. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law on many occasions.
Of course.
And the law has won on most of them.
On most of those occasions. On most of
Yes.
them. You know, it's a tough fight, but we keep fighting. You know?
It's all we can do
That's all we can do.
is keep fighting.
It's true.
Keep,
Do
keep
you have
cool.
any jail stories for us before you go?
No, those are all in my forthcoming memoir.
Oh my gosh. Is LEC's ghostwriting it?
No,
Be so for real. Okay.
Dusty Rhodes is ghostwriting.
Dusty Rhodes. A ghost is ghostwriting it. That makes
Because
sense.
if I was going to get a ghostwriter, who do I know that is a ghost? And I forgot Dusty.
It's true.
There's
if you're gonna have like
another jukebox.
there is. If you were
Oh.
gonna have a cutie pie writer, you could have like the Ceases do it.
Right, but they're not ghosts as far as I'm.
No. That'd be like if you wanted like a sweet little gals writer.
Right, well, this one is from Jam Beard wants Dusty to sing the Boss Man theme, the Big Boss Man theme. So I'm going to start it and see if Dusty will join in.
Okay.
If you ever take a trip down to Cobb County, Georgia, you better read the signs. Respect the law and order. You'll serve hard times.
Hard times.
You'll be serving hard times, Daddy. You're the big boss man. Make you walk the line. You better watch out, baby. You'll be serving hard time. He carries a big stick. A ball and chain, too. If you're looking for trouble, he'll be coming after you. You serve hard times. You'll be serving hard times. You're the big boss man. Make you walk the line. Better watch out, boy. You'll be serving hard time. You'll be serving hard time. You'll be serving hard. Listen, I have not spoken to Ray Trailer, a.k.a. the big boss man, recently. He's up here somewhere. I gotta find him. I'm gonna sue him for gimmick infringement.
You should.
His theme song, I did not realize how many times that the theme song of the Big Boss Man references hard times.
I guess he used bluechew.com code FIGHTFUL.
I might have to hire that smart Mark Sterling of yours, see if he can sue him so I can get some rights to some of the music that he was. That is terrible, man. You be serving hard time.
It's so true.
All right, well, I gotta go. I'm gonna go find that Ray Trailer, that son of a bitch. Stole my gimmick and put it in his song. All right, be a call back to the great beyond.
Okay,
Bye-bye. Uh-oh, I would not want to be Ray Trailer right now.
No, nor would I.
That would be bad for him. But anyway, keep cool, gabagoos.
Toodles.